Good morning. I am Dr. Vernon Smith, Provost of the American Public University System. It is my great pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremonies today. Welcome, Class of 2018, Commencement Ceremony. At this time, would you please stand for the national anthem performed by Ms. Kimberly Crotty. Gentlemen, please remove your caps at this time. Thank you, Kimberly. The invocation will be delivered by University Chaplain Dr. Cynthia Lindenmeyer.
I invite you into a space of prayer. Gracious Creator of us all, to everything a season and the time now calls for celebration, and yet as these before you celebrate graduation, remind us all that our voyage of self-discovery ever continues. Remind us the ongoing journey of faith spans our entire lives. Remind us to learn from our failures, our struggles, our fears, to seek humility in our achievement. Remind us to be ever grateful to those who helped us to achieve our academic goals. And we pause as we name in our hearts loved ones whose encouragement sustained our academic adventure. May we understand as we approach this stage and hear the names of our classmates read, that we graduate not as individuals, but as a community of the American Military University and American Public University. May you sail from this harbor strengthened to be who God created you to be. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Lindenmeyer. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would like to introduce to you our distinguished colleagues on the platform. Please stand as I introduce you. Starting at my immediate right, our president, Dr. Wallace E. Boston. Our commencement speaker, General Michael Hayden. Delivering our student honors address, Mr. Philip Inc. The chair of our Board of Trustees, General Alfred Gray. Chair of our Board of Directors, Major General Barbara Fast. Our University Chaplain, Dr. Cynthia Lindenmeyer. In the second row are members of our Board of Trustees and Board of Directors. Serving on our Board of Trustees, Major General Robert L. Neighbors. Lieutenant General David Huntoon. Dr. Katie Marie. Dr. J.D. Polk. Member Emeritus, Lieutenant General Richard Treffry. Member Emeritus, Mr. Frank Ball. Serving on our Board of Directors, Mr. Eric Anderson. Ms. Jean Halley. Dr. Barbara Kershon. Mr. Timothy Landon. Mr. Bill Robison. To my left on the platform, Dean of Academic Services and the School of Education, Dr. Conrad Lotze. Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities, Dr. Grace Glass. Dean of the School of Business, Dr. Chad Patrizzi. Dean of the School of Health Sciences, Dr. Brian Freeland. Dean of the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, Dr. Ahmed Nauman. Dean of the School of Security and Global Studies, Dr. Mark Riccardi. In the next row, Dean of Graduate Studies and Research, Dr. Jennifer Douglas. Dean of the Extension School of both American Military University and American Public University, Dr. Grady Batchelor. Senior Vice President and Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Bob Gay. Executive Vice President and Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Patrick Dyberg. Vice President of Academic and Instructional Technology, Dr. Karen Serva. Vice President of Accreditation, Dr. Jennifer Helm. And Chief of Staff and Mace Bearer, Dr. Gwendolyn Hall. Program directors, faculty, and staff seated on the stage and on the audience, please rise and be recognized. Thank you for your great work that you do every day in service to our students. Now, I would like to invite spouses, loved ones, parents, children, and friends of the graduates to rise. Graduates, please stand, turn around, and recognize these dear friends and family members and thank them for the support that they have given you as you work towards your degree. This is a momentous occasion for all of us. To mark this special occasion and to give the President's address, I am pleased to invite our President, Dr. Wally Boston, to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming President Boston.
Good morning. Just in case you were wondering, the extra chairs are for this afternoon's undergraduate ceremony. The good news for our graduates this morning is the line's going to be half as long. On behalf of the American Public University System and its Board of Trustees, I extend a hearty welcome to the members of this year's graduating class and all of our honored guests. In January of 1993, American Military University accepted its first cohort of 18 students, all seeking a master's degree in military studies. The internet was in its infancy, so our first courses were delivered via UPS, Federal Express, or the Postal Service to students with a box of materials, including textbooks and syllabus, as well as instructions to call or email their professor once a week. I won't ask if any students were here then, but I also won't ask if any faculty members were here then. Our courses evolved over the next 20 years as technology enabled the development of learning management systems for classroom content, broadband for faster online connection speed, e-books, software simulations, etc. AMU evolved also and began offering undergraduate degrees, as well as we established the American Public University System and American Public University. We grew from 1 degree and 18 graduate students to more than 100 degrees and more than 80,000 students. Today, nearly 15,000 graduate students are pursuing studies in 38 different programs, ranging from the original military studies to psychology, space studies, homeland security, sports management, etc. With the launch of our 2 doctoral programs in January of this year, 40 of those graduate students are on their way to becoming our first doctoral graduates. Welcome all of you to membership in our Alumni Association, over 75,000 strong. Those of you seated here represent 2,707 alumni who earned master's degrees over the past 12 months. Clearly, your paths to complete your degrees differ from person to person, but in many cases, your drive and determination to complete your degree was boosted by the cooperation and understanding of your family and friends, and we applaud them for their words of encouragement and assistance. Master's degrees originated in the Middle Ages, where the term mastership referred to the students achieving the highest scholarship at the university and whose knowledge qualified them to teach the material to bachelor's students. More recently, in the U.S., the Council of Graduate Schools declared that the master's degree is, quote, a credential designating advanced preparation and training in a specialized area of study, most commonly for the purposes of entry into or advancement within the world of professional practice, end quote. On the surface, it doesn't seem like much has changed, but as you and I know, a lot has changed. For example, in the Middle Ages, we didn't have the internet. And we didn't have you communicating with a professor in Canada while you were in Afghanistan or Malaysia or Japan or some other area of the world. And also in the Middle Ages, education was reserved for the clergy and the nobility. Today, nearly 70% of high school graduates here in the U.S. attend college. Approximately 11% earn degrees beyond a bachelor's. Just as earning a high school degree was a differentiator for my grandfather's generation, and earning a college degree was a differentiator for my father's and my generation, graduate degrees are becoming the new differentiators for your generation. Whether you studied in a traditional classroom on a traditional campus or studied online from deployments in far-off countries and battle zones, doesn't really matter much as nearly as whether you completed the degree requirements specified by the university's faculty. In an era where the amount of content being published on the World Wide Web each year is equivalent to the content published by the New York Times over its entire history, those able to discern the good content from the bad content will be able to thrive at work and at home. Whether you continue with your studies and earn a doctorate, maybe even with us, or continue to acquire knowledge and your expertise throughout your career and other experiences, wear the badge of mastership proudly. I thank you for selecting us for your master's degree and wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors. Congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you, President Boston. We will now take a few moments to acknowledge graduates and faculty who were honored earlier for their academic and teaching excellence. Award recipients, please stand when your names are announced. Please hold your applause until all are recognized. The Class of 2018 Academic Scholar Awards were presented to, from the School of Business, Mr. Philip Inc. From the School of Health Sciences, Ms. Sarah Garvin. From the School of Security and Global Studies, Mr. Christopher Mazzacane. You may be seated. At this time, we would like all of our graduates who received honors to please stand. Congratulations on achieving this honor. Graduates, you may be seated. Now, I would like to invite the recipients of the Outstanding Faculty Awards to stand when announced. And again, please hold your applause until they're all recognized. The 2018 Excellence in Teaching and Learning Awards were presented to, from the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, Dr. Julie Thompson. The Graduate Excellence in Teaching Award was presented to Dr. Candace Wyatt. The Excellence in Teaching Gateway Courses Award was presented to Mr. Stephen Cook. And the Outstanding New Faculty Member of the Award was presented to Dr. Jessica Sapp. And finally, the Outstanding Faculty Member for 2018 is Dr. Michael Pitaro. Please join me in congratulating them. You may be seated. Today, we are truly honored to have General Michael Hayden as our commencement speaker. General Hayden has served his country for more than 40 years. First, in the United States Air Force, then as the Director of the Central Intelligence Agency and the National Security Agency, among other distinguished posts. General Hayden was our first Principal Deputy Director of the National Intelligence and the highest-ranking military intelligence officer in the country. He is considered an expert in intelligence, cybersecurity, government surveillance, and geopolitics, and is a frequent commentator in top publications on those matters. He is currently a principal at the Chertoff Group and a distinguished visiting professor at George Mason University's Schar School of Policy and Government. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming General Michael Hayden.
Well, good morning, and thank you for the very generous introduction. Since we're in the Washington, D.C. area, I can't help but offer the comment that was clearly not given under oath, all right? Thank you all for inviting me to be part of your celebration to the president, the administration, the faculty, the board, and you, our graduates here, that I can be here and be part of this really important event in your lives. Now, we're here to celebrate your accomplishment, and I also know the background of the university and the students here in front of me. Celebrate also your commitment to service. And I want to combine those two thoughts, your academic achievement and your commitment to service, because frankly, I think you personally, with those two major streams in your lives, you are more needed than ever. And I know this is an important personal moment for all of you and for your wonderful families and friends, but we are all part of a greater whole. And I want to talk just for a few minutes about what I would hope would be your broader contribution to our broader society. And I'll be very brief and to the point. I ask advice from the administration up here as to how long a talk like this should be. And the advice I got was best of breed is 7 to 10 minutes. So I'll be working on that. But what I want to talk about several what I would call hinge points that are going on now in the broader world around us to make you aware of them as you go forward in your personal lives of achievement. What are the major streams that are taking place that you should be aware of and to which your contributions may offer solutions? So the first hinge point I want to share with you is, and it's based on a short story. About 2 years ago, I was just about 30 miles up the Baltimore-Washington Parkway in Baltimore, and it was the meeting of the Republican members of Congress. They get together every February, all the members of the House, all the members of the Senate, members of the Republican Party, and they try to hammer out common policy positions. And I was up there on a panel to organize the discussion on national security. I was there with Mike Chertoff, former Secretary of Homeland Security, Ray Odierno, who had just left being Chief of Staff of America's Army, Ryan Crocker, diplomat extraordinaire who's been to every difficult capital in the world on our behalf, Baghdad, Kabul, Islamabad. Right? Bob Kagan, an historian at the Brookings Institution, and me. And we, 5 people on a panel, lively discussion, and then the members of Congress weren't going through the panel moderator. They were asking us questions directly, and then, as you might expect with members of Congress, they didn't bother to ask us questions. They started arguing back and forth, all right, right there in front of us. And finally, Kagan, the Brookings historian, Bob kind of gets out of his chair and puts his arms out like maybe he's Moses coming down from Sinai with tablets. And he says, look, what's going on here is the melting down of the post-World War II American liberal Bretton Woods World Bank IMF world order. Get it? And I remember having the thought, boy, Bob, that's really good. And it is. And what he was trying to describe is that the global order that had pretty much kept things in line for the last 75 years was losing its relevance because the world on which it was based, remember this is right after World War II, the world on which it was based, as you well know now, has changed dramatically. And so the relevance of those institutions is gradually eroding. Now, let me quickly add that those institutions have stamped Made in America on them. They were created based on American ideals, nurtured by American diplomacy, and sustained by American power. And if we all come back here in a couple of 100 years and we get a history lecture on those 75 years of what America did, we're going to get more than a gentleman's C. Those 75 years, as tough as they have seemed to be, have been the most productive, healthiest, long-lived, best educated, richest, and safest, most peaceful 75 years in the history of the human species. But as Bob points out, that's going away. And so the first hinge point that I want to suggest to you, something we have to decide as a country and to which you must contribute, is where are we? Where are we, Americans, on 2.0? Given what it was we did for the original, what do we view to be our responsibilities for what follows? That's the first hinge point. The second hinge point that you need to be aware of is that, and this is a little more local, not quite as global, we have seemed to move into what the Oxford Dictionary calls a post-truth culture. Post-truth, by the way, was the Oxford Dictionary Word of the Year for 2016, and it's broadly defined as decision-making based less on data and evidence, you know, the stuff you've been doing to get your degrees, decision-making based less on data and evidence and more on feeling, preference, emotion, loyalty, tribe, or grievance. And those of you observing our broader society know that that's become a very, very challenging aspect of the modern debate. Frankly, I'm fond of saying there are several institutions that seem to be in the bunker at the present time: intelligence, law enforcement, the courts, science, scholarship, right, and journalism. And what do those have in common? They're all fact-based. Now, they can all be imperfect. Occasionally, some of them are corrupt. But their only safe haven is they pursue truth. And right now, they are a bit battered by the broader considerations of a post-truth culture. You know, the post-truth thing is really quite surprising because the evidence-based approach has been the style of Western thought since the Enlightenment of the 17th century. Evidence, data, experimentation, hypothesis, observation, test, adjustment, humility in the face of complexity. And so post-truth is actually a challenge to all of Western society, but it's a particular challenge to America because those Enlightenment ideas, and this is the third hinge point, those Enlightenment ideas were the ideas that animated our founding fathers. Our foundational documents, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, are imbued with the philosophy of the Enlightenment. And if we are moving into a style of thought that is post-Enlightenment, post-truth, that shakes the foundations of this country more than any other. And so the third hinge point I would suggest to you that we need to work on and to which you need to contribute is definition of self. Who are we as a nation? Now, I am fond of saying that the essence of the American identity is that we are a creedal nation, that we are a nation unified by our beliefs, not by blood, not by soil, not even by shared history. How do you get to become an American? You come here, you study the documents, you understand the documents, you swear to the documents, you're an American. I recall I was as director of CIA, and on a short flight, I was accompanying a gentleman named Ashfaq Kayani, who at that time, he was a Pakistani general. He was the head of my counterpart organization, ISI, inside Pakistan. And we were on final, and we were looking out the window, and he was sitting opposite me. And I just simply said to him, General, when I land in another country, I generally try to look out the window and just let the scenery wash over me, if you know what I mean. Try to be a blank tablet and let the land make its impression on me. And so I said to him, General, we're about 3,000 feet. That's America out there. When it rushes over you, what do you think? And he immediately told me a story of something that he experienced more than a decade earlier when he was a student at Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth. And he said he and his wife, on probably about one weekend a month, would simply head off from Leavenworth in a cardinal direction, all right, just to go see the American heartland. And they would head off and travel as far as was comfortable on a Saturday, and then they would pull off the interstate or the road in one of those ubiquitous cloverleafs with the multiple hotels. And he would park the car, leave his wife in the car to make sure they have a room, walked into the desk clerk and simply said, do you have a room available for the night. And General Kayani, Pakistani general, head of their intelligence services, simply said to me, and I understood when I walked into that hotel and asked that clerk whether or not he had a room, that clerk thought I was an American, which is very revealing of a society, of a creed that appeals to our better angels and creates a society that is welcoming. So those are the three hinge points I just want you to be aware of: the melting down of the global order, a post-truth culture, and then a grand debate amongst ourselves as to who we are and who we want to be in the future. So there's a lot going on. But let me end where I began, which is fundamentally, congratulations. Congratulations on your achievement. Congratulations on your commitment to service. And I know practically everyone in this room is either in or has some relationship to the U.S. government, the U.S. Armed Forces, this service before self. So I just want to remind you that getting your degree today, right, is a little bit like promotion within our military. And you remember what we try to remind folks when they get promoted? This is just not a recognition or reward for past achievement. It is putting on your shoulders increased responsibility. Welcome aboard. We need the help. Thank you very much.
Dr. Boston, would you please join me at the podium?
It is my pleasure today to recognize General Michael Hayden and award him the Doctor of Public Service, honoris causa, in recognition of his extraordinary achievements from 1969 to this day for his work in the intelligence community across multiple sectors, including the United States Air Force, the Central Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency, and many more. We honor him for his service to the American people, their liberty, and their security at home and abroad. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the American Public University System Board of Trustees and the entire university community proudly join to confer upon General Michael Hayden the degree of Doctor of Public Service, honoris causa, on the second day of June, 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating General Hayden as he comes forward to receive this honor. And I would also like to ask our board chair, I'd like to ask our board chair, General Alfred Gray, to come forward also. Another round of applause, please. Now, I have the honor of another award. The President's Award for Outstanding Graduate Student of the Year goes to Mr. Philip Inc. Phil completed his Master of Arts in Management of May 2017 with a 4.0 GPA. His focus has been on developing a unique business incubator model for restaurant entrepreneurs. This model combines the resources of nonprofit entities and the local business community, providing a space for the entrepreneurs to develop their brand and find ways to contribute to the community. This concept provides future business owners with assistance on implementation, sales, and professional marketing support. It also includes an intensive 18-month business training curriculum. Phil is also an adjunct professor at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh in the Culinary Arts, Hospitality, and Tourism Department, and is the advisor to the Students' Culinary Club. By combining his expertise in cooking, restaurant management, and community development, he he has shown his students that making a profit is not only possible, but enables them to give back to the community. In the near future, he plans to advance his education by earning a doctorate degree. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Phil Inc.
You guys look great, by the way. Thank you for bestowing upon me this honor, and thank you, my fellow classmates, for the opportunity to address you at this, our 2018 commencement. We have all worked very hard. According to a recent Census Bureau study, less than 10% of Americans have earned a master's degree. Now let's let that sink in for a minute. We, as graduates, have earned a degree more than 90% of the American population does not have. To earn our degrees, we have spent hours and hours studying, researching, writing our forums, formatting papers, and looking up words which have the proper feel and meaning we are attempting to convey. We've missed games with our children, dinners with our spouses, and time with our friends. However, today is not about what we have given up. Rather, it is about what we have accomplished. Dwight Eisenhower said, "Accomplishments will prove to be a journey, not a destination." And surely our journeys are different. While many of us have crossed paths at American Military University and American Public University, the journeys sometimes seem more like climbing a mountain than a walk in the park. During this time, we have worked with our professors and with each other and received words of support and assistance. We have received these same words from our families and friends, although they were not always said out loud. There are two words, however, that were never said to us by our loved ones, our fellow students, or the faculty who supported us. Other people may have and probably did utter these words, but we didn't choose to hear them. Our drive, commitment, and passion toward our journey allowed us to block out negativity and focus our energies on our accomplishment. These two words are powerful. If we listen to them, they allow us to make excuses, and excuses allow us to stop believing in ourselves. What are the words? You can't. We've all heard these words. You can't go back to school. You can't spend that much time studying. You can't take that time away from your family. But in reality, it isn't us in this room who can't. It's the people who say these words to us who can't, because we can and we have. In the future, we're still going to run up against people who tell us you can't. That's fine. Their self-doubt should not affect how we conduct ourselves from this point in time. My favorite poet, Robert Frost, wrote, "Two roads diverged in the wood and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." Frost's words to me tell me to ignore the easy path and take action. There are many ways we can use our education for the greater good. Many commencement speakers will tell their audience to change the world. And I agree with them. The potential to do that is in this room, but that's a lot of pressure to put on us. I mean, many of us just finished classes. My recommendation, fellow classmates, is to look behind me on the stage, look to the right, and look around you. Every one of these individuals has changed our world, and because of their efforts, we have the opportunity to use our education to show we can make a difference, even if it starts with one person. We can become mentors in our community. We each have expertise which can be shared with younger people eager to learn from us. Simple things like balancing a checkbook, starting a lawn mowing service, or preparing for the college or military are important to know. Become a coach for a youth sports team. Believe me, I have done this, and the rewards you get are far greater than the time you commit to the organization. Nearly every coach involved in youth sports could use some help, and your passion for the sport can make a huge impact on the players and on you. Volunteer with a local charity or nonprofit group. They need help doing things from making copies to planting community gardens. Some agencies use volunteers as chaperones, and others need people to read to children and work with the elderly. Community groups have the need for talented artists and musicians. You can work with children at the library or residents at a nursing home. The point is, you have the ability to change lives through your action and to give back to your community in a way which can make it a better place to live. This is how we change the world. We do it locally because we can have a positive effect on those people we interact with every day. We don't do it for recognition or platitudes. We do it because it's the right thing to do and because we have the education and experience working with others to effectively help. Now, most of us didn't endure graduate school because we planned on spending our time volunteering as a profession. We did it to enrich the lives of our families. We did it for ourselves to prove that we could do it. We did it for a promotion, and we did it to make more money, and there is nothing wrong with that. By earning an advanced degree, we are better prepared for work, and we have proven we can accept challenges and persevere. Now that classes are over and we are being presented for graduation, I have 2 words for any potential employers out there who may be listening. Hire us. According to Forbes magazine, employers are looking for certain traits in their new hires. I've picked out a few which I think are most important. Trait 1, think independently. How many of our coworkers and friends have been awake doing homework at 2 a.m. while our professor, who may live in Germany, and our fellow students who live all over the world are sleeping or working? Going to an online school isn't for everyone. It requires discipline, commitment, and independence. Trait 2, like to problem solve. Every week, we wrote forum posts, researched topics, and wrote papers, all while balancing a marriage, family, friends, outside activities, and work. We've solved problems at school, work, and home. Notice I didn't mention sleep. Trait 3, have ambition. Like I mentioned earlier, we have accomplished something 90% of the country hasn't. We did it working independently and virtually, without the traditional classroom experience that many of our coworkers have. We have ambition and drive times 10. Trait 4, work well on a team. Many of us have been in the best teams in the world as part of the United States military. Others work as first responders, where teamwork is vital to getting the job done and returning home safely. We have been working as team players throughout our careers and especially in graduate school with great success. Trait 5, be goal-oriented. How many of us remember looking at our academic plan and thinking, how am I ever going to complete all of these courses? As daunting as that list of courses was, we did complete it. Many of you not only completed the courses, but completed them with honors. Gang, we did it. Moving forward, fellow graduates, my advice is this. Embrace your future and use your education to make a better life for you and your family. Use your time and make a better life for someone else. Remember the people who have supported you, because friends are the people we share our memories with. Thank you and congratulations.
I'd like to thank Phil first for that great speech, secondly for his wonderful achievements here, and lastly, I'd like to present him with our President's Award.
Thank you, Mr. Inc. Thank you, President Boston. And again, congratulations to the class of 2018. We would now like to take a moment to recognize those graduates that could not be here today. This next presentation celebrates our virtual attendees. The first person to cross the stage will be a master's degree candidate representing those who are participating virtually through a live webcast of today's ceremony. If you'll direct your attention to the screens, we have a short video presentation to celebrate this moment. Will a candidate in absentia please stand and come forward?
Hi guys, Shantae Arnett here. I am from Maryland, but I flew in from Japan. I'm getting suited up in my GoPro here for the commencement ceremony here in a few seconds. I submitted a video to win a contest to get a free ticket and hotel paid for, and coming from Japan, super expensive. So this is awesome. So this will be live, and you guys get to see what it's like to walk across the stage. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna try not to dance too much so you guys can pay attention and see what's happening and not get seasick. So as I'm wearing this, I'll walk across the stage and I'm you. Imagine it's you walking across that stage and enjoying that moment that we went through together. So we did it, guys. Congratulations, and I'll see you right now.
Now it's the moment you've been waiting for. President Boston, I am pleased to present to you the American Public University System Class of 2018 candidates, master's degree candidates. Please stand and come forward by school to receive your diploma.
School of Arts and Humanities. Nina Rivera Nunez, New York. Victoria Allen, Pennsylvania. John W. Shaffer, Virginia. Casey Lynn Hurd, Maryland. Timothy Everson, West Virginia. Valinda Williams, Virginia. Nicholas Sekula, Kentucky. Charles Henry Goff, Michigan. Brad Wolfe, Canada. Dennis Leo Gallagher, Virginia. Russell Leslie Smith, Jr., North Carolina. Greg Allen Drummond, Georgia. Marisa Kayla, Texas. Michael Rectine, Mississippi. Richelle Ann Runyon, Iowa. Judy White Pardee, Texas. Katrina Porter, Florida. Deanna Nicole Pope, Florida. Elizabeth Aiken, Texas. Carolyn Van Deventer, Germany.
Robert Augustine Miller, New Jersey.
Stephen M. Cox, Pennsylvania. David Reese, Pennsylvania. John Nguyen, California. Linda Ann Lake, Virginia. David Wayne Van Wyck, North Carolina. Deline Namula Tenjen, District of Columbia. Brenda Walker Elder, Virginia. Maria Dolores Rivera, Maryland. Courtney Creegan, New Jersey. Rosalind Milton, Maryland. Sierra Billis, Pennsylvania. Chantanique Delasia Moore King, Florida. Krystal Bond, Texas. Angelia Quirk, California. Mario Rene Verto, California. Dorothy W. Parker, Maryland. Martea Brown, Pennsylvania. Raquel Griffin, New York. Chandler Dean Arnold, Nevada. Yudmila Alfonso, Florida. Dean Elvis Perez, Florida. Dennis Burdett, Georgia. Adil V. Gajraj, North Carolina. School of Business. Jennifer Ponto, Tennessee. Felicitas Njenga, Kenya. Scott Cranford, Virginia. Christina Lee, Virginia. Wenisha Tippin, Louisiana. Rebecca W. Lacio Jimenez, California. Calvin Grant, Kentucky. Angela Zullinger, California. Kristen Johnson, Ohio. Deborah Corzo Santome, Virginia. Jaquise Wolfe, Pennsylvania. Russell Anthony Sanderlin, New Jersey. Anthony Vogel, Nevada. Shantae Arnett, Maryland. Mohammed Salim Arif, Virginia. Chrissy Marlena Guerra, North Carolina. Rachel Herman, Ohio. Jeff Cook, West Virginia. Frank William Pelletier, Pennsylvania. Serena Jet Williams, District of Columbia. Laura Michelle Scott, Maryland. Hector Irizarry, Puerto Rico. Derek Jones Holmes, Virginia. Miguel Hilario Lopez, Oregon. Rhiana Boatwright, Texas. Terrell Nelson Ward, California. Jamie Bird, Kentucky. Jonathan Bloom, Ohio. Michelle Nicole Cloutier, Virginia. Brian Obell, Pennsylvania. Josephine Marcellino Reese, Connecticut. Victoria Squitieri, New York. Ruben Labrador, Hawaii. Simon Levison, California. Edmund Cochran, New Jersey. Vanessa Miller, California. Richard Eselu Gabriel, Virginia. Christopher Harvey, Maryland. Tina Louise Connor, Texas. Jennifer Estep, Tennessee. Brandon Estep, Virginia. Edward Trujillo, Florida. Stephanie Cruz, Ohio. Wendy Palmer, Florida. Patsy Kovach, Massachusetts. Dana Knuckles, North Carolina. Tammi Dickerson, North Carolina. Brianne Rue, West Virginia.
Adele Tucker, West Virginia. Alisa Scott, Virginia. Dominique Jordan, Alabama. John Ira Johnson Jr., Florida.
Lance McCormick, Louisiana. Stephen Dozer, Virginia. Julie E. Spears, Virginia. Becky Andres, Nevada. Yvonne Marina Figueroa, Florida. Andrea Sorensen, Florida. Kelly Lynn Lambert, Florida. Linsey Current, Iowa. Jahan Thompson, New York. Kristen Michelle Watson, Pennsylvania. Elexis Harley, District of Columbia. Rochelle Wright, Tennessee. Rashida Ewing, New York. Chris Zimmerling, West Virginia. Lamont C. Mitchell, Sr., New York. Scott Moore, Ohio. Latasha Nicole Freeman, Virginia. Lindsay Vacara Desire, Georgia. Carmen Alicia Williams, South Carolina. Stephanie April Freeman, Wyoming. Rebecca MacArthur, Wisconsin. Sean Jared Clayton, Georgia. Joseph Eastman, New Jersey. Fabienne Eberhardt, Florida. Mary Serrano, California. Richard Neal, Kentucky. Ashley Beauchamp, Florida. Dawn Marie Lutchka, North Carolina. Kirsten Yates, Virginia. Renee Nicole Nassif, Florida. David Zachary Romero Salona, California. Cody Wetzel, West Virginia. Robin Sweezer, Virginia. Tyler Drennan, Texas. Daniel Seth Williamson, Virginia. Jonathan Behrens, West Virginia.
Philip Inc., Pennsylvania. Anthony Johnson, South Carolina. Xavier Robertson, Virginia. Dante Lamont Williams, Virginia.
Ruby Word, North Carolina. Reginald Cornegay, Florida. Reniqua Grays, South Carolina. Jamaica S. Howard, Georgia. Natia Robinson, Ohio. Jessica Cole, North Carolina. Donna Lynn L. Adams, Florida. Kenneth Marcel Welch, Ohio. Jeffrey McKinney, Texas. Buddy Loomis, Arizona. Sarah Elizabeth Witter Erfel, Ohio. Fidel San Miguel, Texas. John Forsyth, Ohio. Michelle Angela Graham, Georgia. Rodney F. Denslow, New York. Tania Kahalavehi Diaz Chong, Hawaii. Amanda Lynn Velasquez Franklin, Florida. Syreeta A. Donald, Maryland. Charles Faber, Tennessee. Megan Jean Burkhart, Maryland. Kadri Lindemann, Georgia. Michelle L. Robbins, West Virginia. Samantha Linneman, Virginia. Kimberly Knight McCants, Alabama. Antoalise Kia Williams Henderson, Maryland. Edward Williams Jr., Ohio. Sunday Awanuga, Texas. Chief Petty Officer Javier Ilanes, Florida. Devin Marie and Judy, Virginia. Catherine Riddle, Virginia. Zachary Waters, West Virginia. Carlos X. Vargas, New Mexico. Joshua Fernandez, Florida. Denise L. Hickman, South Carolina. Kristen Johnson, Maryland. Anthony Hernandez, Tennessee. Richard Singhas, Wyoming. Heather Dobby, West Virginia. Brandis Van Iderson, Washington. Jantani Robinson, Louisiana. Craig Sanjay Ricketts, Florida. Jordan Allen Sheets, Indiana. Daniel Patrick West, West Virginia. Angel Vega, Puerto Rico.
Anthony Cruz, Guam. Shaniqua Hunt, Maryland. Sabrina Marie Condon, Washington. Nadine Richardson, Georgia. Javanka Baez Rodriguez, Florida. Taylor Boubian, Jr., Virginia. Carlton Deshaun Warman, Michigan. Michael Yerstick, Virginia.
Gregory Dwayne Mercer, New York. Kirk Anthony Haywood, Louisiana. Eric Davidson, Alabama. Dawn Marie Hollister, Texas. Thomas Mitchum, Colorado. Arthur Ball, Jr., Florida. Samuel Kenyenso, New York. Jonathan H. Collier, North Carolina. Rogelio M. Asarius, Jr., Hawaii. David A. Kelly, Virginia. Rosita Orchid Aruan Baptiste, South Carolina. Joel Raymond Moretta, New York. Olamide Sunday Odekai, California. Frank N. Sanders, Pennsylvania. Larissa Mallard, West Virginia. Adewunmi Boboadi, Michigan. Albert Farley III, Georgia. Terrence L. Shirk Sr., Maryland. Kevin Michael Doherty, Massachusetts.
Sandra Rodriguez, Florida. Orlando Jarrett, New Jersey. Christopher Hunt, South Carolina. Eric Nelson, Virginia.
School of Education. Carla Aisha Potter, New York. Kathy Jo Dorner, North Dakota. Catherine Minton, Pennsylvania. Kara Eddy, Michigan. Karen Tlatempa, New Jersey. Kelly A. McCain, Illinois. Andrea Jean Luna Bradley, California. Grisel Chevere, Florida.
Dana Berry, West Virginia. Jennifer Heidi Grunwald, Texas.
School of Health Sciences. Genevieve Farrell, New York. Modupe Stella McAnthony, Maryland. Aretha Jackson, U.S. Virgin Islands. Fatma Amour, Georgia. Andrew Ananias Liu, New York. Latoya Thais Smith, Delaware. Mohammed Chauhan, California. Vanessa Robinson, Jamaica.
Mohammed Karoma, Pennsylvania.
Michael Rowe, Georgia. Robert Jarvis, West Virginia. Brandon Clayton Dye, Virginia. Timothy Paul Duffy, Georgia. Claudia Helmick, Virginia. Claudia Santos, Texas. Danielle Lucas Holmes, Texas. Sarah Ann Garvin, Missouri. Jennifer Lefebvre, New Hampshire. James Baker, Tennessee. Linwood Jose Donald, Maryland. Aaliyah Irvin, Ohio. Jonathan Bird, Georgia. Marlon Harris, Georgia. School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. Agbor Echi, Ohio. Maria Alejandra Steelman, Maryland. Graham R. Clark, Pennsylvania. Michael Shinazaki, New York. Billy Dasco, California. Terrence James Christopher Backus, Connecticut. Stephen Lafferty, Jr., Washington. Tommy Carnes, Michigan. James Edwin Clark, Maryland. Daisha Lynette Woods, Louisiana. Tanya Cherie Strong, California. Venkatalakshmi Putta, West Virginia. Tina Louise Long Williams, Maryland. Miriam Abbas, California. Aurora Alina Robeson, Ohio. Michael Ryan Harris, North Carolina. Rachel L. Thomas, Alaska. Wilgwins Valmy, Florida. Nicole Judy, New Hampshire. Amanda Lee Kessinger, Washington. Dawn J. Miner, Maryland. Samantha Gorbett, California. Jason Allen Hawkins, South Carolina. Stephanie Erickson, Virginia. Godwin Olumese, New York.
Richard Blum, Connecticut.
Eric Lee Candy, California. Ernest Fishburne, South Carolina. Philip Day, Virginia. Nicholas McLarty, Texas. Christina Yap Mitchell, New York. Vanese Leal, California. Marilyn Weekly, North Carolina. Stacy Lynn Nerona, Massachusetts. Corey Leeds, Massachusetts.
Meredith Marie Anderson, New York.
Sandra McCulloch, Florida. Marvin E. Woods, Florida. Paul Travers III, Maryland. Rafael Jose Miranda, New York. Yolanda Shepard, New Jersey. Stephen Larson, Virginia. Andy Rivas, Maryland. Shayla Williams, Georgia. Desmond Burgess, South Carolina. Matthew DeLauder, West Virginia. Brandon L. Coleman, South Carolina. Justin D. Mosley, Mississippi. Albert Spencer Brown, Pennsylvania.
Medgar Jacobs, Texas. Mashonda Tuck, Georgia.
Plowden Dixon, South Carolina. Robert Wilson, Colorado. Matthew Jordan, Florida. Amanda Schuyler, Pennsylvania. Genevieve F. Bryant, Florida. Stephen White, Louisiana. School of Security and Global Studies. Deidre Angel Green, Louisiana. J. Lynn Dennis, Pennsylvania. Stephen Matthew Dummett, Ohio. Miles DeYoung, Colorado. Patrick Kalavalani Chung, Hawaii. Corey James Newman, Wisconsin. Latrell McNary, Michigan. Wendy Bundy, Virginia. Tuer Tanae McMullen, Alabama. Sherrard Cooley, Maryland. Crystal Angelina Rubang, New York. Jessica Blake, Jamaica. Venice DeAndrea Humphrey, Illinois. Tawny Mangia Racina, California. Sarah Royal, West Virginia. Jason Dwayne Farmer, North Carolina. James Bing, New York. Henry Joseph Giamarco, Jr., Pennsylvania. Teresa D. Edlow, Texas. Dustin Matisse, Louisiana. Jovencia Guidry, Louisiana. Jennifer Lynn Rivas, Colorado. Julia Rose Kroll, Pennsylvania. James Burt Harris, Jr., Pennsylvania. Michael Winslow Blow, Virginia. Christina Southwick, California. Rhonda Underwood, North Carolina. Christopher A. Mazzacane, West Virginia. Aaron L. Goddard, Florida. Rebecca Huff, North Carolina. Michael Darrow, Florida. Jessica Epling, Virginia. Carrie Lee Hemmond, Virginia. Justin J. Mast, Indiana. Sharice Boyd, Florida. Travis Hauser, Arkansas. James Ferguson, Iowa. Kimberly Miller, North Carolina. Anita Lindsay, Louisiana. Yvette Linda White, Maryland. Jennifer Ann Bergdorf, California.
Celeste White, New York. Jacqueline Stamos, Florida.
Eric Gregory Davis, Pennsylvania. Christopher Gorno, Virginia. Mitchell Dinowitz, Maryland. Mark Larson, New York. Peter Fiknerski, Maryland. Lana Hernandez, Michigan. Angel Cruz, Puerto Rico. Alice J. Armacost, Maryland. Vivian Hurt, Panama. Teresa Ortiz Santos, Puerto Rico. Nguzi Otuonye, California. Chad Martins, Florida. Joseph Massini, Nevada. Billy W. Tyree III, Georgia. Bruce Ramos, Florida. Ashley Marie Gully, Wisconsin. Frank L. Roman, Pennsylvania. Damian A. Rodriguez, New York. Philip Poe, Maryland.
Jeremy Bird, Virginia. Jeffrey Williams, Ohio. Alexander Arthur Respetro, New York.
Lynn M. McAfee, Massachusetts. Carrie Sue Anderson, Pennsylvania. Matthew Christopher Clomera, California. Devin Ward, Maryland. Michelle Kathleen Almond, New York. Jasmine Bianca Herring, Maryland. Robert Hodges, Florida. Alexander Mesa, Florida. Yosef Murad, Virginia. Denise Cardinale, New York. Harold Acree Canup, Jr., South Carolina. Brian Wick, Michigan. Nathaniel Veals, Jr., Louisiana. Nicole Melvin, North Carolina. Danielle Colabroy, Virginia. Matthew St. John, California. Lori Denise Scambatti, New York. Simone Mitchell, New York.
Lieutenant Colonel Gary Holland, Texas. Justin Wilson, South Carolina. Brian Rigsby, California. Tanisha Saunders, Texas. Charles Joseph Pelosi III, New York.
Wayne K. Jung, Washington. Antoinette Ann Advincula de Leon, Alaska. Brittany Basden, Maryland. Crystal Ann Walker, Kansas. Andrew Ryan Bergdorf, California.
Brian Chambers, Tennessee. Christian Borez, Texas. Gary Michael White, Jr., Virginia. Rogelio Alivar, New Mexico. Eugenia Woods, Alabama. Richard Figueredo, Texas.
Yami Sem Pretrick, Kentucky. Eliza Jama, Georgia. Reverend Father Nelson Ajay Bidiaco, SMA, New Jersey. Pierre Maxo Sainville, Florida. Claudius Anton Tennyson IV, Texas. Andrew Wills, South Carolina. Christopher Michael Ladd, Pennsylvania. Jamie Ray Eastman, Vermont. Desislava Stefanova, Bulgaria. Vivian Lee Harper, Virginia. Francis Capito, Malawi. Warren Cornelius Flowers, South Carolina. Jeffrey Richard, North Carolina. Jason Kaneshiro, New Jersey. Cindy Soriano, Florida. Preston William Green III, Arkansas. Joseph Octavius, Canada.
Herb Sambu, Florida. Kwame Aduhin Kwarteng, Maryland.
Lisa M. Dummett, Kentucky. Guadalupe Reese Hilliard, Montana. Sydney Danielle Blakes, Virginia. Lisa J. Owens, Maryland. Joey Kuhn, California. Michael Bocanegra, Texas. Joshua Zamzow, Nevada. Brian Hackett, Virginia. Ryder, Maryland. Melanie Harrington, Virginia. Lindsay N.C. Sorg, Virginia. Adrian Bailey, Georgia. Chad Lasby, Virginia. Sean Eric Thomas, Virginia. Paige Arlene Farrington Himes, Virginia. Lanisha Taylor, North Carolina. Kadeh Kalun, District of Columbia.
Rolando Piera, Massachusetts.
Lawrence Andrew Hartwig, Maryland. Yvonne Michelle Young, Georgia. Kimberly Wade, Alabama. John Cummins, Texas. Sokkok Jeum, California. Joelle Barrett, Ohio. Ashley Fairfax Milbourne, West Virginia. Stephanie Crum, West Virginia. Dr. Nirmal Kumar K7, Michigan. Barbara Hanson, Texas. Courtney A. White, North Carolina. Tanya Tamara Word, North Carolina. DeAndre Pratt, Florida. Larry Thomas Robinson, North Carolina. Baron Ama Osong, Virginia. Gerald Keith Lucas, Florida. Danny Ortiz, Virginia. Robert Dale Antry, Missouri. Michael England, Georgia. Tyler Glenn Enoch, North Carolina. Sarah Jane Torres, New York. Alan D. Landers, Georgia. Kamal Thomas, New York. George Wesley Schmidt IV, Virginia.
Anne Marie Paul, Maryland. Master Sergeant Casey Melton, New Mexico.
Master's candidates, please rise. Let's make this official. President Boston, these candidates have fulfilled all requirements for their respective master's degrees, and it's with great pleasure that I present them to you.
Thank you, Provost Smith. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the master's degree, with all of the privileges and responsibilities thereunto. Graduates, as an outward symbol of your achievement, you may now change your tassels from the right side of your cap to the left side. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a big round of applause for our graduates.
You may be seated. The American Public University Board of Trustees, Board of Directors, faculty, and staff extend our sincere congratulations to you, our graduates, and now our alumni. You've obtained one of your educational goals. Think to the future. We have been privileged to support you in these endeavors. We wish you only the best in the future and encourage you to stay in touch. And there are many wonderful opportunities to stay connected to the university and your fellow graduates through means such as social media and our peer mentoring program, your alumni community, and much more. No matter how long or far your accomplishments will take you, we will always be here for you, for your future educational endeavors. Thank you, family, friends, and our graduates for the support you've given to each other during this time, and for being present here during this important celebration. We hope you've enjoyed your commencement. Guests, please remain at your seats until the platform party, faculty, and graduates have recessed from the ceremonial hall. The side exit doors will remain closed until the recessional has exited the hall. Our commencement ceremonies are now concluded. Have a wonderful afternoon, and congratulations, class of 2018.